Welcome to the channel. If you'd like to help us out, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you after the video. So I cleared up some work and was able to get up to the cabin again. And this time what I'm going to try to do is, what I am going to do is I'm going to spray the cabin with Wet and Forget. And I'm going to see if I can get rid of some of the mold or mildew stains that are on the cabin, especially on the east side and the north side of the cabin. So this is what it looks like right now, and I'm going to show you what it looks with the condition of the siding. Now the cabin on the outside, the siding that I put on it was T111. The reason why I did that is because one of the restrictions on the deed for the property in this area, because they want to keep it recreational, is that the cabin has to be it has to be all natural materials. So it can't be, vinyl siding. It can't be stuff like that. And so let me just show you what the cabin looks like. Right, this part right here is the south side of the cabin. It's the entrance to the cabin. It doesn't look that horrible. I mean, there are a little bit of dark stains. Maybe you want to call them mildew stains or mold stains, but it's not looking that bad. We go over here. This is going to be the west side of the cabin, and again, not bad at all. It I sprayed this cabin maybe about 3.5, almost 4 years ago, and it's held up pretty decently. But this year there's been quite a bit of rain that came down, and a lot of the north side and the east side of the sides of the cabin are showing some mold or mildew staining on it. I'll show you that right now. So this is the north side. So as I start turning the bend, you can see on an angle where all that mold is all around there. It's all the mold or mildew staining is happening. And so if we look at it straight forward, you can see what I'm speaking of. If I can get out of the sunlight, you can see what I'm speaking of. See, so I'm going to spray all that again. All this mold and mildew buildup has happened for the most this year. It's been, like I said, a really rainy year, first half of the year so far. This is the worst side of the cabin, I think. So we're going to go over to the east side of the cabin. Not as bad, but you can still see it on an angle where I'm speaking of, as far as the mold staining or mildew staining that's happening. All right, so you can see it. I don't know if you can see it very well, but in between those windows right there, quite a bit of staining. And I'm going to show you what it is that I'm using. I'm sure a lot of you people are familiar with this stuff, Wet and Forget. But it worked pretty good for me for the last 3.5 years, and so I'm going to do it again. The kind that I got now, there are some different types of the Wet and Forget out there. The one that I got right here is concentrated, and I got that for a reason. This makes up to 4.5 gallons, and I'm thinking that this will more than likely be able to take care of the entire cabin. I believe what I did it the first time, all I used was one of these. And so it says that I'm supposed to apply to this using a pump sprayer until the dry surface is thoroughly saturated. Allowed to air dry. Second application 1 to 2 months after the first, also to assist when treating persistent stains. I didn't have to do that the first time that I did this. I did this once, and within a couple of weeks this was already pretty cleared up. But again, the north and the east sides of the cabin seem to take a little longer. No rain is expected within the next 4 to 5 hours. It says if you're expecting heavy rains within the next 4 to 5 hours, not to do it. So I don't expect any rains within the next 4 to 5 hours. It says it could take 6 to 12 months. When I did this within 1 month, I was able to see the big difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the cabin again, and I'm going to wait probably about a month, and I'll do another video and I'll show you guys what the results are so far within the coming month, or within the next month, how everything worked. So let me go on ahead and show you how I'm going to do. Okay, so as it turns out, it's about 2 years ago that I did this process of spraying the cabin with the wet and forget. So, because the cabin's only a little over 3 years old, and I couldn't possibly have sprayed the cabin 3.5 years ago. So anyway, here's my setup, and this is how I do this. So we have the wet and forget right over there. And I don't use one of those spray things where you're constantly spraying, you know, all over the place. You know, you get the hand cramps and whatever the case may be. So I use one of these little sprayers. I got this, I think, in Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. You can probably get one from, you can get it from Amazon. But if you want to get even something cheaper, you can get a backpack one, where the handle is actually on the side, and you can just pump it just like that as you're standing on the ladder. Now I'm a dumbass, and I actually did buy one of those, but I left it back at the house, back in New Jersey. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing it with this one right here, which is the one that I used about 2 years ago, and I'm going to repeat the same process, and it works actually really well. So the way it tells you the instructions on this bottle, it says that it is 1 part of wet and forget to 5 parts of water. So in this case, it's going to be 8/10 of a gallon of wet and forget to the remainder water. And I actually made my little mark right down there, which is what I figured to be roughly about 8/10 of a liter. Yeah, 8/10 of a liter. I'm not sure if I said 8/10 of a gallon. 8/10 of a liter to 1 gallon is what you're supposed to put in this. That's the way it would work out. So I'm going to fill this up with the wet and forget up to that little mark right there, and then we're going to fill it up with the remainder with water. Oops, spilling it all over the damn place. Okay, we are about there. Yeah, that's about right. Give it a little extra just in case. There we go, just in case. I'm not sure exactly how level these steps are, but I'm not trying to come back to moss or mold or whatever the hell this crap is growing all over my cabin. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this container, the sprayer, the rest with the water. Now, as I mentioned in earlier videos, this is an off-grid cabin, so we have no running water. And so this is the way that we get our drinking water. And the showers we use the water from the pond and whatever. But we buy our water and emptying them into this 5-gallon jug, and this little pump thing that we got from Amazon works really well. I can't tell if that's a little bit more. It's just shy, maybe another pump or two. That's it right there. Might be a little too much, but that's all right, because we put a little extra of the wet and forget in there anyway, so just in case of such an emergency, right? Oh, okay, and that's it. Now we put this all together. I pump it up, climb the ladder, and start spraying the hell out of the cabin. And you keep pumping everything until it's all, spraying the cabin, that is, until it's completely saturated, until I've saturated the T111 on the cabin. Good. The little pressure valve is telling me that it's done, and so now here I go. I'm going to start out on the south side of the cabin, which is possibly the least worst part of it. This side of the cabin is not that bad. But I'm going to spray it anyway. And all I'm doing is just saturating the hell out of everything up there. Now you see, how using a pump sprayer is a hell of a lot better than using a hand sprayer. And I would probably guess that the pump sprayer that I had bought that would go on my back and I had a handle on the side to be able to do with would have worked even a lot better than this. See, all you do is just saturate everything. Reaches pretty far distance too. I may not even have to move the ladder to do the other side. Covers nicely all the way throughout. Now, I'm just going to continue doing this throughout the entire cabin. I'm not going to bore you with watching me spray the entire cabin. So I'm just going to end this video right here. And I hope to see you guys soon with some more things that I'm doing around here. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. By the way, after I'm done spraying this and let it all get rid of the mold or mildew stains on the cabin, I am going to stain it. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I did mention it in the beginning, but I am planning on staining it. And so we're going to see. I think the color that I chose was a cedar, so like a much nicer, hopefully, than with the way it looks right now. Alright guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Hey guys, alright, so I'm back at the cabin. Originally when I was here, it was July 28th or 29th that I did the filming of the spraying of the cabin with the Wet and Forget. Today is September 4th, so it's a little over a month since the last time I was here, and we're going to see what the outcome is. I think it was a success. Not too sure. I can't remember what it looked like a little over a month ago, but here, let's take a look. All right, so this right here is the south side of the cabin. As we mentioned in the about a month ago, that the south side wasn't bad to begin with. So, you know, there's not much difference there. Same thing over here. If we look at the west side of the cabin, west side of the cabin is pretty good too. Nothing to speak about there. I always spray this side anyway, just because I don't want anything to start to grow on it. And everything looks really good here, actually. So I would say this is looking nice over here. Now we're going to look at the north side of the cabin. Now this was the bigger problem. If you recall that when we looked at it from an angle, you can see where all the staining is all around there, and you can still see that it's kind of still there. But what I found was, and I'll explain to you in a little bit, that it looks like it killed the mildew, I guess, the mold and mildew on there. And what I would need to do is take a brush or a broom and just sweep it off. All the dead matter, I guess, is what's left after the spraying was done. I mean, right now it doesn't look very good, but if we go over here to the east side of the cabin, right over here, if you remember, when I was originally looking at this to do the spraying, most of the worst part of it was actually, the sun's actually hitting it really hard right now. It's morning. Was this area right here? It was really black, right? It was more stained than the rest of the whole length of the cabin. But what I did over here was, and this is how I found out, I took a broom and I just started sweeping, kind of, a little aggressive on it, but started sweeping the dead mildew off the T111, and that worked actually pretty well. And so I'm gonna say that it did a fairly decent job. And so I'm gonna go. I'm leaving today. I'm going back home. But the next time that I come up, it probably won't be till maybe next year, spring or so. We'll see what happens if I can get back up here this fall. But if I can get back up here and the weather's nice enough to be able to work on this, maybe I'll see if I can scrape or sweep all that black matter off the T111, and maybe I can stain it. And that's basically it, guys. I would say that the wet and forget did work. A little more work than I did last time. The last time when I did it, I didn't have to do anything as far as scraping black matter off the siding. And this time, for some reason, I do have to. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that we had a wetter spring and fall. Well, it's not fall yet. Spring and summer. I don't know. It was a very rainy spring and summer, so maybe that's the reason why why there's so much mildew or mold growing on it. But it seems to come off, as I showed you, on the east side, and I'm gonna have to do a little extra work in this case. They do say on the bottle that you're supposed to wait, a couple of months. I've only waited a little over 1 month. But if it comes off already, that's what I'll do, because I want to get this thing painted. And when I go to do that, I'll show you the before and after. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you guys stuck around this long, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Hope you enjoyed that video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Click one of the videos that are hovering and click that subscribe button. Appreciate it.